Good morning, today is Saturday and today it is absolutely chucking it down outside. It hasn't stopped raining since about 3 o'clock this morning because that's when I woke up and couldn't get to sleep, so I can testify that it's been raining all day so far. I was going to take you outside today and give you a little garden tour for October, September, but it's raining, so that'll have to wait until tomorrow or maybe next week at this rate, because it doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon. Now I shouldn't complain because we had a lovely week away in the Isle of Wight last week. The weather was just glorious and it was perfect for walking about, so with every bit of sun we get this time of year we tend to get a bit more rain as well, so it's not the end of the world, but it doesn't mean I can't go out and show you what I was planning to show you today. So while the walk back fills itself up, I am going to do a little preparation for the garden next year. I've got some seeds and bulbs that I'm going to show you that I want to plant very soon so that I can get a head start on next year's gardening. And I also this afternoon would like to do a bit of chutney making and use up some of the apples and the plums and the green tomatoes, which there are many, into some chutneys that can be given away at Christmas. So that's today's plans. I'm going to show you all the seeds that I'm going to plant today. Most of these came from my parents' house whilst I was down there. I found a big old box of seeds that I had a bit of a rifle through and found quite a few of the things that were on my wish list for next year anyway. So despite them being even more out of date than the seeds I planted this year, which most of those are about 10 years out of date, some of them, there's a few that are older than that, so I'll show you those. Hopefully they should germinate, and if they don't, because I'm planting them in the winter and let them overwinter, I will have a chance to buy new seeds in spring if they don't. So I thought this is the best way to try the seed out and to see if it's, you know, viable at all. You never know, it might be. Bag of tricks. Yeah, so I've got a big old bag of seeds here that I'm just going to run through with you and show you what I've got. So whilst we were on the Isle of Wight, we took the chance to nip into the garlic farm. I wanted to get some bulb garlic so that I could plant it for next year, and we got some. I bought 4 bulbs, which was for £10, so you got like a pick and mix from different varieties. So I've got 2 bulbs for myself and 2 that I'm going to send to my dad in Liverpool. I got a purple variety, or a slightly stripy variety, which is called early purple white, and that gets planted from now until January, so that can go in very soon once it stops raining. And I also got a Mersey white, which is named after the village that the garlic farm is based. So this one doesn't mind damp weather, which is good. So that one, I think, let me just see what I've written down, can be planted from November to February, so I'll leave this one a little bit longer before I pot that out in the garden. But yes, I've always wanted to try growing garlic from the Isle of Wight garlic farm. I have grown garlic before, but it's always been an absolute disaster, so I thought if I start with some good bulbs, we should be okay. So that's the first thing that I got in my big bag of seeds. We had to pop to B&Q on Thursday when we got back to the Isle of Wight to get some more paint for the front room. That's coming along very slowly but very surely. So whilst we were there, I had a little look at some of the bulbs and I found 3 for £7 on their bulbs at the moment. So I got some snowdrops and some English bluebells, which are very pretty. And I also got, I've never grown these before, but some snakehead fritillary, which I'm planning to plant under the buddleia tree in our garden, so they all come up in the spring. So once I can get out of the garden, I'll plant these up. I haven't decided if we're keeping the buddleia yet, to be honest, but at the moment it's the only shady spot that we get in the garden when the sun's on it in the summer, so we might leave it for a few years more. So these won't hurt being planted underneath. I can always move them when we move the buddleia if we do. So there's those 3, which I'm really excited to see how these all turn out. On to the seeds that I've got from my parents' house. I found quite a lot of different things, and a lot of the things that were on my list that I'd been wanting to get off of eBay at some point this year next. So I thought I'd give these a try, and as I say, the seeds are quite out of date, but you never know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if I start them now, I've got a chance to find out and get some new seed. So first up are these Nigella seeds, which are very pretty. You can plant these from May to September, so I've just missed the boat on September, but I'm still going to try these anyway. These actually ran out of date, and these are the oldest ones, in 1994. Yes, So yeah, I don't think they're going to miss these out of their box seeds when they get back to the Isle of Wight when they can. So yeah, I'm going to try those today. We also have some Cosmos, which is very pretty as well. July 2010, so that's not so bad. It's only 10 years. Next up is this Bergamot, which that was definitely on my list of things to buy off of eBay or from a seed company. And again, they're out of date, 2015, so only 5 years. September. So again, I'm going to give these a try today. Then we have a Gardener's World seed selection here with some verbena and calendula. Now, I've been reading up a lot about calendula. I'm really keen next year to grow some. I downloaded the ebook from Tanya at Lovely Greens, and it's really fascinating read, and she recommends a few varieties, and Indian Prince is one of these varieties. So yeah, I'm really quite excited to give calendula a try. You can make balms and teas and things from it, so it seems like a good all-purpose all-round little plant there. So that's going to be given a go today. I've also got some red hot pokers that I found in my parents' stash. I'm not going to plant these today, they're a bit early to be planted. Ben's favourite plant, I think, he goes on about the most of wanting into the garden, is a red hot poker. So there's these two varieties here, Flamingo and just a mixed hybrids. So again, out of date 2006, 2014. So they won't be tried today, but they will be tried at some point next year. So another seed packet that my parents had were these cowslips. Now next year I really want to grow a proper wildflower meadow border. We did it a little bit with the lawn this year, and there is some plans I've got to discuss with Ben about putting some bulbs into the lawn so that they come up before we need to mow it. So that's exciting, but yeah, we need to have a little think about how that's going to work. But down one of the sides next to the Budley, I wanted to do a little wildflower meadow. So cowslips are very much a very wildflower meadowy kind of plant. So I'm going to plant them today as well, because they can be planted from September to October, and we'll see how we get on with these. But again, yeah, they went out of date in 2005. Next up is some helichrysums. I don't know if that's how you say it. Straw flowers, essentially. I've seen these on a lot of Instagrammers, a lot of allotment Instagrammers posts, and I thought they looked so amazing. So my mum had a packet of seeds of these because my mum was very much into cut flowers back in the day. I think she still is really, but she doesn't get as much time to do that anymore. And these went out of date in 2010. Again, I could plant these in September, so I'm going to try, because it's only a couple of days difference from September. The plant won't know, will it? Very pretty. I really want to try them, and I think you can dry them out, so that should be really exciting next year. So they'll be everywhere next year, fingers crossed, if they germinate. So last but by no means least, we have this Calendula Orange King. Tanya from Lovely Greens doesn't list this as one of her recommended varieties, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. The reason that certain varieties have higher resin levels, which make them better for using medicinally and whatnot. So this wasn't on the list, but I think it's going to be just fine. So, and it's very pretty with its double leaves and everything. So that's the last one. So I'm going to give those a go today. So as well as all those seeds that I stole from my parents' house, I did buy some more seeds myself. Some of the ones that I was looking for that were on my list were not in my parents' house, so I wasn't able to steal them. So from eBay, I've got two types of chamomile. Whilst we were on the Isle of Wight, we saw a field which had chamomile running along the edge of it. I think I took a photo. And I was really surprised to see how it grew on such rugged, kind of chalky, dry landscape. It's along the coastline. That was munched by cows and horses and all sorts. So I was really impressed with how strong it was, and I realised that when I did a little bit of research that was Roman chamomile, and that it's a wildflower in our country, and it's actually quite endangered. It's only found along the south coast of England and kind of on harsh, kind of ruggedy areas. It's quite hardy, and it obviously likes to be poorly treated and to have very little nutrients in the soil. So that aside, I wanted to grow chamomile this year because I'm getting more and more into kind of herbalism and things like that, and it's really intriguing me, so I'm reading up a lot about that. And so chamomile and again calendula, which I've talked about a minute ago, are two of the kind of more medicinal flowering herbs that I thought I'd like to give a go to this year, to see how I get on and take baby steps into learning a bit more about wildflowers and herbal remedies and such like. So it's very exciting to me to give this a go. So I got some, from eBay, I got some wildflower chamomile, which I believe to be the Roman style of chamomile seed. So I got that from an eBay. So I also got some German chamomile, but that it just came in a little brown envelope, so nothing to show you very exciting there. I also, for this wildflower meadow that I was talking about previously along the side of the garden, I've got some cornflowers, which is lovely blue cornflowers, which are often found out in the wild. I also got some yellow rattle, which I was watching Gardeners World a couple of weeks ago now. I think it might have been a couple of months ago. And Monty was planting this in where he was creating his own wildflower garden. He said that this will keep down the grass because it can take over our wildflower border. So I've got some yellow rattles, so that should stop the grass from growing. I think it kind of inhibits its growth somehow. But very clever, but that's, again, I've got some of that. So then we've got bird's-foot trefoil, which is another lovely, beautiful wildflower, which I remember having to identify when I was in Brownies doing one of my Brownie Guide badges. So I have quite fond memories of it, having to learn all the flowers and the wildflowers for that badge. It has quite intense planting requirements. It needs to be either soaked overnight in hand hot water or gently rubbed between 2 sheets of sandpaper. So I think I'll go for the water option because I've got a feeling I'd lose the seeds everywhere. So that's another one for my wildflower meadow. So next up is this scabious, and this one is called Golden Genesis, and this is really, really pretty. I didn't particularly buy this for any other reason than I thought it was really pretty. I don't think it's particularly a wildflower, not a native one perhaps, but it might be, I don't know. So that's another one that will just maybe go in the garden. I don't know as much that as the wildflowers, but it was from the same seller and I liked it, so I bought it. And one last thing, again, this is not for the wildflower meadow, this is another variety of helichrysum, which is a straw flower. This one's called Bright Rose, and it looked so pretty in the picture on the internet that I thought I'd like to add that to my bundle of plants. So that is all of my seeds that I'm going to plant today, for the outside anyway. Obviously a few of those are going to be saved for next year. Also I got in the post, which was very lucky to get, I got a Feed the Bees pack, and I sent off for this a couple of months ago and was lucky enough to get them. So I got a little Feed the Bees pack of seeds. It's like little seed balls that we can plant, and this is what we might plant in the lawn. Not decided yet, so that'll be done once it stops raining at some point this week. So yeah, I was really lucky to get those, and they're free from Ralph's honey, so I'm going to give them a whirl. So one last thing that I got a couple of weeks ago, actually, I didn't buy this in this little haul that we've got here. I got this from Dobby's when we went there to get some seeds, but they didn't have the ones we wanted, so I couldn't go without buying something. So we got this seed packet of lithops. Now, watching Gardeners World, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe again a month or so ago, I'm losing track of time this year. There was a segment on there about this chap that was growing lithops and had been growing them for lots and lots of years, and he had so many different varieties and they look so beautiful. They look like tiny little stones, and we both watched this and we were like, we have got to find ourselves some of those. So when we were in Dobby's, we saw this seed packet and I thought it might be worth a try. From what I've read on the back, they may be a little bit difficult to germinate. They need to be kept at a constant temperature of between 18 and 27 degrees for 2 to 12 weeks to germinate them. So it could be easy, it could be difficult, you just don't know, do you? So, but I'm really excited to give these a go, as we're both really enamoured with them when we saw them. Yeah, these will be planted at some point soon. I'm going to maybe do them in a couple of weeks' time, but I want to show you them because I'm very excited about them. I do have to say that Gardeners World has been responsible for a lot of my spending this year, and I'm not in any way disappointed by that. But yeah, I was realising the more I think about it, that many of the things that I've grown this year or planning to grow next year have been influenced by Monty Don and his gang. So thank you, Monty. So that's all the seeds that I've bought and stolen from my parents over the last few weeks. There is one more thing that I've just remembered, and that's some seed from my parents' garden. There are these Aquilegia seed heads that I need to sort through at some point today and take the seeds out of the husk of the head so that I can plant them as well. While we were down there, we had to do a bit of pruning and deheading of some of their garden flowers, so I took the opportunity to steal some. They won't mind. They don't mind, I've checked. So yeah, they're another one that I would like to plant today because they should be going in soon anyway. So okay, I'm going to stop waffling at you now, and I'm going to go outside and I'm going to get the compost and bring it into the lean-to and start planting some of these lovely seeds. I'm not sure if I've got enough space for all of them, but I'm going to do as many as I possibly can today and see where we are, and hopefully I can get lots of lovely flowers for the spring. So I've narrowed down the seeds that I'm planning to grow today, or plant today I should say. Some of these it's a bit tenuous as to whether I plant them or not. Ideally spring is the best time, I think, but some of them, like the cornflower, definitely can be planted now. And the scabious, as I say, I'm pushing it on some of these things. This should have been planted in September, it's now October. The calendula, I can't seem to find a decisive answer on whether to plant now or in the spring. You can see there it says September, but it mainly says in spring. So I'm going to give them a go. They're out of date anyway, so I'll try a little bit of each. I did notice when I opened up this, which I haven't done yet, haven't done before, but inside is even more calendulas. There's another orange king, and I'm guessing this is what's in there. Indian prince, other Indian prince, and that will be probably the verbena. Yeah, so there's more than I bargained for, so I think as these ones have gone out of date in 2003, I'll plant these ones today and save the other orange king, which went out of date in 2009, till the spring. So I'll plant some of these, and I'll plant, I think, some of those, which is the Indian prince, and save the others and see what happens. I'm planning to put half and half, so I'm going to label them up. I'm going to do half of one and half of another, to save on the space a little bit, because I don't have a lot of seed trays left. And as you can see, they're mostly tomato tubs and hand tubs and Chinese takeaways, but we're using them, so that's a good thing. So yes, I'm going to get cracking on that now. So these are the calendula seeds. Orange king this side, Indian prince this side, and we shall see what happens. Okay, so the bird's foot trefoil has been planted. This needs to be put outside under glass. As I don't have any glass to hand at the moment, I'm just putting the lid on the Tupperware pot. These are going to live outside for a little bit. Okay, so I've tied my hair back, which means that it's chutney making time. I found a recipe on the Waitrose website, which is for an apple and plum chutney, which looks rather delicious. So I thought I would make that with the plums that we got when we went down to my parents' house in August, which had been sat in the freezer, and use some of the apples up that I've got recently from the last trip that we went on. So that's the first chutney that I'm planning to make. Hopefully I might get enough time as well to make a tomato chutney, a green tomato chutney, but we shall see. So let me get cracking with this and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so I've got my ingredients all laid out. I've got my apples. I need 3 pounds of apples. These are a pound of my mum and dad's apples that I froze as soon as we got back. 2 onions, some salt, 3 pounds of plums, which came out from my mum and dad's garden, some vinegar. It should be apple cider vinegar, but I don't have any, so it's going to be malt vinegar. And again, it should be brown sugar, but I only have granulated white sugar, so I'm sure it'll be fine. So that's what I've got for that. Also 75 grams of raw ginger, and I've made up, the recipe didn't call for garlic, I've made up it to 100 grams with some garlic. Okay, all my ingredients are in the pan. I also added a teaspoon of allspice, which I'd forgotten to get out of the cupboard when I was going through my ingredients. So that's in there as well. The vinegar's at the bottom, sugar, onion, and plums and apples are all in there together. It is literally the top of this pressure cooker pan, which is the biggest pan that I've got. So I'm hoping this reduces down quite a bit. It probably will, because of the fruit that's frozen is kind of holding its shape. It isn't becoming as squishy just yet. So now it's time to boil this thing to pieces and see what happens. So we're 20 minutes in now, and it's all defrosted, and so the levels have reduced a bit. It's gone down by about, say, 3 inches. I am a little concerned that my frozen fruit may make it more liquidy than the recipe was expecting, so it may need some of that draining off a little bit. We shall see. But for now it's bubbling away nicely. It smells very vinegary and very Christmassy, cinnamony and all spicy, so it's rather nice. Okay, you might notice something different now. I've had a bit of a disaster with the old chutney. I nipped upstairs for a few minutes, and when I come back I managed to burn the chutney at the bottom of the pan. I'm soaking this to try and get the burnt bits of chutney off the bottom of the pan so I can reuse it again, but until that point I'm going to keep bubbling them away in my 2 other smaller pans and hope that I haven't ruined anything. So they're all cooled now. I do need to clean the jars off before I pop them in the cupboard. I'm planning to give these away at Christmas to family, and so that my parents can have some chutney with their own apples and plums in it. So I have tasted it, and it tastes very lovely. It's very quite a bit of a gingery warmth to it, which is really nice, and it is a little bit vinegary at the moment, but I'm guessing that the 6 weeks that it will take to sit in the cupboard before it gets given away and used at Christmas for crackers and cheese and stuff, it may mellow out a little bit, hopefully. It's still very nice as it is, but hopefully it will get a bit richer in flavour. So until Christmas I shall give it another go and let you know how that tastes, but hopefully my family will like their chutney.